implement Goobric and Doctopus, which are two scripts that really help with handing out assignments and labeling and also grading and attaching a rubric to an assignment. So we're going to go ahead and start with a spreadsheet, as that is what the scripts like to work on. Opens up. And the ones we're going to be dealing with today are Doctopus and Goobric. They work really, really, really well together. So Doctopus is a document octopus. It's going to hand out an assignment of your choice, and it'll name it for you, it'll collect it for you, it'll set time limits on how long the assignment can be worked on. It is a nice little add-on that really helps with just digital handing out of papers and assignments. Goobric works in conjunction with Doctopus, and it is a rubric that you can attach to your assignments that you've handed out, and then you can grade them with your machine right in front of you. So it eliminates, sorry, I can't speak, the need to take home 110 rubrics plus 110 projects. You have it all on your computer, and you can get that feedback to them quickly, and it attaches it right there, and it emails it to them, and then it also stores the grades into a master spreadsheet for yourself. So this is Doctopus and Goobric. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with an add-on. We want to add the Doctopus script. So it's in the add-ons menu now. It used to be in the script gallery, but if we do go to there now in the tool menu, it's gone. It says please go to the add-ons. So add-ons, I've already added this on to my Google account, but you may need to search for it. So just search for Doctopus, and then when you find it, we're going to go ahead and launch it. So again, Doctopus is the add-on that's going to help you hand out assignments and collect them and name them however you wish. So it's pretty handy. Now with the add-ons, they're going to walk you through on the right-hand side, which is super, super slick. There's really very little need for extra help because it's going to tell you exactly what it wants you to do. So step one is going to select the roster. And we're going to go ahead and build a new roster for this situation so you guys can kind of see what that looks like. If you have something that's already pre-made, you're good to go. You can upload that and away you're on to the next step. But I'm going to build the roster on this sheet so that we can see what happens. And as I say, create roster, it's going to populate the spreadsheet with the information that I need to fill in. That's helpful because I'm not missing a step then. I just know exactly, whoopsie doodle, exactly what I need to do as I add that information on. So first name, last name, and the email address. I'm also going to add one more row, and I'm just going to use my personal email. And that way we have a couple people within the class itself. So my Doctopus looks like it's thinking over here for some reason, and I'm just going to go ahead and let it think for a second. Come back out of it and see where we're at set up now. Choose verify roster updates. We're going to do that. So if that happens, you can always step back out and then just step back into the step that you're at. All right. Looks like everything's good. If things were wrong, it would have highlighted the cell yellow and it would have said, please check this. I think this is handy because if you have an error in an email address or something, it'll say this doesn't look like a real email address. Are you sure? So that's a nice little feature that the Doctopus does for you. The roster name, I'm just going to call Doctopus and Goobric. You could create folders if you wanted to. I would also recommend as you're doing your rosters to not exceed more than 40 or 50 students in a class because it just causes the script to work a little slow sometimes. So if you keep it short and just to the, the one or two classes that you're dealing with, if they have the same assignment, it does save you some time on running the script. So I'm going to save roster and continue. Doctopus is thinking again, setting up my roster for me and also thinking about what assignment I may want to hand out. So it's telling you, yeah, this is working well. I like the little pop-ups now because it tells me I'm doing the right thing. So now I need the assignment. And again, I like the add-ons because they're really making things clear for us. It lets you know what you're selecting and what that maybe will look like in terms of the assignment. You can do an individual all the same. You can do more of a group assignment if you have A's and B's and C's and D's, groups of kids or something, and you wanted them to work on specific pieces of a project, you could do that. Project groups, you could, again, lump people together if they were doing the same assignment in a group. Whole class, maybe I just wanted to create one assignment that we all worked on together. So I like that the add-on there has that for you. For this situation, I'm going to say individual, all the same. I want everybody in my roster, which is Laura and Laura, to get the same type of assignment, but they're each getting their own to work on. I don't want them to have access to each other's assignments. I just want it to be, eyes on the prize, eyes on your own work, and work through that. So no access there. But I do want my 2 people in my roster to have access to edit that assignment if they need to. So I'm going to say allow edit. You could also add co-teachers here if you were working with a social studies and science teacher. We're working together on a research project. You could add them at that time, then they would have access and editing rights to the Goobric and the student document. So save and continue. It's thinking. It's going to have another pop-up here directly saying, yeah, I like what's happening. All right, now it actually wants me to find the assignment. So this is where it helps to have your drive super organized because you know right where you're going. And I say that and hopefully I can find mine right away. So the one I'm looking for is, go ahead and yep, and I say that and now I can't find. Start here maybe. And within here, there should be a Goobric file there. That's what I want. Select. Oops, it's taking a little second. Maybe because it wants me to go back. Try this again. Sorry about that. I do this every time. I try to select the folder and it doesn't want me to actually click and go into it. It just wants me to select and put the check mark up in the left-hand corner as the little template thing here says to do. But I keep for not doing that very well. So the folder that it is in, my folder is in Goobric. So instead of selecting like I did last time, it took me into the folder. Just put a check mark there and that way the script knows where it's looking when it finds the template. Now, once it knows which folder your assignment is, this is when you actually go in and actually select your assignment now. So the folder that I want us to share is Goobric task. Save and continue. So now the Doctopus is going to be handing out this assignment and it's going to email them or name it however you want. So the folder, you can have like a handout of folder or however you want that. Notify document editors immediately upon sharing and resharing. If you wanted, as soon as I hit this, it's going to send an email out. So I'm going to go ahead and say sure. It picked a way to name it, but you could pick whatever tags you want up here. Last name, first name, Doctopus Goobric. It's not too bad. Nice and organized. Include a note. Here is your assignment. Good luck. Whoops. Good luck. Goodness. All right. Wants me to make sure I have that assignment folder picked out. And then I can say save and continue. So now you'll see the Doctopus working. And it'll hand out the assignment here. I want to run the copy and share. Just double checking. There it comes. It's giving you a link directly to their assignment. It's giving you their file name that you specified how you wanted it. So mine is named Gracchi.Laura, Doctopus Goobric. And then it has the link, and then it has the when it was last edited, which is nice because you can then see when your students are working on it or whatever the case would be. And then you have your grade and then your written feedback option. Now this is where we can continue, and that adds on the Goobric piece. So if I hit continue, it's going to bring up kind of a new little menu here where I can attach different things. Some things here. You could transfer ownership if you wanted them to have it anymore, you didn't want it in your drive. They embargo docs for grading. I think this is nice because if I said to my kiddos, you're going to get this week to work on it, you could embargo it at the end of that week. And once you embargo it, they are not allowed to do any more editing to the project. So I think this is just meaningful because when you attach your rubric, then you can grade the work right there. You don't have to worry about the idea that, well, they can have access at any time on their drive. If you embargo it, they don't have control over it anymore. It's frozen, and then and you can grade exactly what they've turned in. So it's essentially like turning in what you have done with a paper copy, except you're just having to do it with the click of the button. So you could embargo, but at this point, I'm going to attach a Goobric. And again, this is just a rubric that allows you to grade things right there. So this is the little symbol for Goobric. It's this little weird eye. Once you acknowledge it and you attach it, install it from the Chrome extension, it's going to show up here in your bar like mine is. So mine's already been installed. And then it'll ask you to select the rubric. And when you create a rubric, you are looking at just a very basic spreadsheet, and then you're just turning it into a rubric. So find my... four task rubric. That's the one that we commonly use. And it'll go ahead and show what this looks like down below, but this is the rubric. So in my spreadsheet, along the top columns, I just said this point was worth a point or is worth 0 points. And then on the side, I had the task. So task number 1, draw the tiger on the head, and then I gave my descriptions and the points below. So just like any rubric, you're just creating it on another sheet. So attach the rubric to the assignment. Thinking, it's doing it. You can see it just did some work in the background there on the spreadsheet, and it also added something down below. So it's just showing you again what this would kind of look like as you're getting into that, and I'll show you what that looks like on the actual assignment. So down below now we've added a new sheet. The Goobric just added it called rubric scores, and it's going to have the actual rubric and the master sheets. You can see how all your students did as you enter them. So this is the roster, the initial roster where we handed out the assignment with Doctopus, the document Octopus. Here's the assignments. Remember, we did a individual assignment where they're all the same. Now, if I was ready to grade, I've embargoed them, they're ready to go, I could just simply click on the link. It's going to open up that student's assignment. So this was just something silly that I've handed out with my staff before. So draw a hat on a tiger's head, place a square over the tiger's body. 3 and 4, those are your tasks. So that's what I use to guide with my rubric. And then I'm ready to grade. So in this situation, all you need to do is go on up and click on your little Goobric eyeball, and it's going to start looking for that associated rubric that you've already done. Up it pops, and then you can just use your assignment right there and just grade. Well, I don't see a hat on the tiger's head, so there's no evidence of that. It's a 0. You know, there's no evidence of the square on the tiger's face. There's no circle placed on the edible giblets. And there's no name placed in the text box on the horse's ears. So at this point, it highlights the rubric as I went through, and I could maybe say, you know, you've shown very little progress on the assignment. Whoopsie doodle. Please come see me to work on a new deadline or something like that. Because remember, if you've embargoed this, they maybe extended the deadline and they got to the point where they couldn't work anymore. So once I say submit and paste to document, it's actually putting that rubric right here on that item right in front of you. The student now has it on their document, and it also emailed it to them immediately. So there's that immediate feedback, and I didn't have to carry a bunch of papers around to do that. This is the next thing I kind of like though. Instead of having to go back to the spreadsheet up here and click and go back, I can just say next, and it's going to take me to the next assignment in my roster. So here's that next person in my roster, and this time we'll just pretend that it was really well done. They have the hat on the head, they have the square, they don't have anything circled that would be edible, and they do have the text box on their ears. Great job. Thanks for working hard. Submit and paste to doc. It's submitting it right down below here. There it is with the items highlighted on the rubric. And there you go. Comments, it's emailed, the feedback's there. And again, I don't have tons of papers everywhere. The really nice final thing that I'll show you then is when you go back to that initial spreadsheet where you handed out the document and now you've attached the Goobric, where it says rubric scores down here, it's put all those right there for you. So you have a nice master spreadsheet of everything. So then you could